Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Monday, February 21st, 2022. This is my newest segment of Markets, a look ahead. So let's do that. Right off the bat, again, we have this Russia-Ukraine issue weighing on global markets. What does the market hate more than anything else? Uncertainty. And to say the least, there's a lot of uncertainty here, at least for the market. You and I, we recognize this for what it really is. As a matter of fact, I wrote an article yesterday and I posted it to my free newsletter discussing what's going on, why it's happening, and of course, the flurry. Check this out for yourself. Don't believe Greg Mannarino. Right now, nations around the world are in a race to set up arms deals with each other. As a matter of fact, it came out Friday, and you probably know about this already, that the United States has secured a $6 billion tank deal with Poland. We already have a $200 million deal with the Ukraine to give them munitions. This is just the beginning. There is all kinds of talk that this is going to balloon much larger. Again, no matter how this plays out over there, this is an arms deal in disguise, and it's actually way, way bigger than that too. We're on the cusp of probably several things. A new, probably Cold War, reminiscent of times past with Russia. Okay, now why would a nation want to be involved in a Cold War with another superpower? Okay, very simple here. Cold Wars spark global arms races, and that's again a theme I have explained to you for a while. We are going to see this again. We're going to see a few things here, people, moving forward in the macro sense here. I also believe not only are we on the cusp of this new Cold War slash arms race situation, but I think the bigger worry in some ways right now is I think a global energy crisis unlike anything we've ever seen before. It's setting up already. And again, look, you know this as well as I do. Central banks are already setting the groundwork. They're pointing towards surging energy prices to blame inflation on. They cannot let anyone know that it's them. The central banks themselves, none more so than the Fed, who has caused this environment of surging global inflation. And every manner of distraction is going to be utilized to keep your eye off the ball. Again, politicians, they will not point their finger at the Fed. Not the current president, retard, the last president, retard, nor the one before him or anybody. It's just not going to happen. No world leader is going to point their finger at a central bank that's supporting them, the economy, because they're the government now. You know that. They will remain blameless here. But you and I clearly know what's going on. So expect a global energy crisis. I think it has the potential here to be devastating. A global energy crisis on a massive scale. And again, if in fact bullets start flying over there, could you only imagine what that's going to mean for energy prices? I have no idea if there's going to be a shooting war over there. All we know is what we are being told from the mainstream propaganda ministries. Okay, you have to look past all this and understand what's actually happening. Nations around the world, all modern nations around the world, have the same debt-based system. That debt-based system, first of all, it's a curse. It's a curse upon the world that we've allowed to manifest. It's astonishing to me, think about it, that the people of the world have allowed private institutions to run the global financial system. We've just given it away. We've literally given it away. And what this has done is create a slave planet. A slave planet. Slave individuals. That's what they do. Central banks are on a mission to create slaves. Nation slaves, individual slaves to debt. Debt. They are one product, and they are more than happy to issue more and more and more debt in any amount, just to keep the system going, to keep power concentrated within central banks. People, I told you this a million times. We got to get rid of these institutions. You know, George Gammon gave me that hat. He knows what's going on here. Central banks are the biggest threat to the world at this particular time. People, how many times have you heard this guy explain to you that you are going to see things that you are not going to believe moving forward? That's a quote. That's exactly what I've said. As central banks create more reasons to borrow cash into existence. The entire world is a stage. The entire world is a chessboard, okay? And central banks work in concert with supposed world leaders to create events like we are seeing over there right now to allow central banks to do what they're doing. And that is, it's a global takeover. We have lost, okay? You know, you got all these people being focused on all of these different things. The only one way that we can win is to take down central banks. Without doing that, and in my view, it's just too late. Again, if you look at how this is structured here, especially in the United States, with the Federal Reserve having the military might, the entire military might and backing of the United States Armed Forces, they can't be beaten. It can't happen, okay? The petrodollar, the fiat monetary system, it's been put in place for a reason, to lead us to where we are now. You understand? All right, look, I've outlined a lot of stuff for you so far, but let us move forward. So what I see on the bigger horizon here is a new Cold War, very cold. A new arms race. Again, do your own research on this. Nations around the world are scrambling, racing, rushing to set up arms deals, just like you and I knew was going to happen. I explained this to you. That's what this is. A reason for central banks to continue to inflate. Where are we getting this cash from? Here in the United States, where are we getting the cash for these arms deals? Where are we getting the cash to send to nations around? We don't have it. We're broke. We're the largest debtor nation on the planet. Anyway, it's just a mechanism to continue to inflate, because that's how central banks retain their power, and we can take them down. If we had one real leader, maybe, who had the public behind them to say, that's it, we are taking back this system, and we're not going to allow the Federal Reserve to issue one single dollar more of debt. We will never have that. Unfortunately, the entire system has become so perverted, so corrupted, so twisted, and people have no idea of how it works, why it works, and what's going on behind it all. All right, so with that said, let's touch on this market here. Again, the market hates uncertainty, people. You know that. So you should expect more volatility. In the stock market, obviously, cryptocurrencies, the relative strength of the dollar, I would imagine, is going to stay high in this uncertainty that's going on right now. While its absolute strength continues to dissolve courtesy of the Federal Reserve. So you're going to see inflation surge much higher. And if we get this global energy crisis, which I sincerely believe we are marching straight into, you can only imagine what that's going to mean for crude. For inflation, prices, it's going to go nuts, absolutely out of control, and people are going to suffer worse than they are. What did we find out last week? We have more people today here in the United States, and this is, I'm sure, a global phenomenon, applying for some kind of government assistance because they can't survive. They can't make ends meet. We have applications for credit card debt here, credit cards in the United States surging at its fastest pace ever. A phenomenon that you knew was going to happen because I said it. I said, watch how this is going to play out. You're going to see members of the middle class, or people who used to be members of the middle class, trying to maintain the illusion that they are still in the middle class. And how they're going to do that? They're going to borrow. They're going to borrow and borrow and borrow again beyond their freaking eyeballs. And all they're doing is assuring themselves a spot on the lower rung of this new system, this new feudal system, this two-tier society. That's where we are. Anyway, on the back of this, okay, again, expect volatility. But I still believe, gauging from what I see here in the debt market, there's no red flags. There are no red flags here. The 10-year yield came down last week. It's not a dropping 10-year yield that we have to worry about. It's a rapidly spiking one. When you see the 10-year yield dropping, that's a safety trade. You see the knee-jerk higher in the dollar. You see stocks sell off. That's a fear trade, safety trade, fear trade. It has nothing to do with the big meltdown that's eventually going to come when we get that implosion in the debt market. You know how it's going to work. Uncontrolled spike in that 10-year yield. That's going to melt down the debt market. That's going to melt down the stock market. And the cash is just going to move from one set of assets into another. So when you see the 10-year yield drop, you know that this is not any major event. Sure, the stock market can drop, 500 points, 1,000 points, but that's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. When we're looking at the big meltdown, we're talking about, 4,000 or 5,000 point drops probably in one day when this thing starts going here. But again, we're not focused on the stock market, you and I. We know where to look. It's the debt market. It's the debt market, period, the end, which is a major factor in the MMRI equation. Did you see the MMRI recently? It actually came down. All right, so risk in the market, despite everything, is actually lower. It's actually freaking lower. Anyway, what else did I want to cover here? I spoke about this before, but let me just touch on this. In the event of a shooting war over there, expect the market, global markets, to take a very sharp sell-off. Keep your eye on the debt market. Again, what you will see, let me outline this for you. If a shooting war starts over there, you're going to see the 10-year yield drop a lot, okay? You're going to see the dollar, the Dixie, the relative strength, spike. You're going to see the market sell off. What is that? Safety trade, fear trade. What does that present to you, my lions out here? Well, opportunity, okay? That's it. I already have powder dry to buy that dip if it happens all the way down. Again, I don't pick tops and bottoms, okay? I'm not going to say, there's the top, there's the bottom. You want to play that game? Good for you. Good for you. Okay, I look at the longer term trends. I take in the geopolitical picture, and then most importantly, focusing on the debt market and the movement of cash. The movement of cash through the markets is key, and I keep you on top of it every freaking day. People, this guy here loves you a lot. While we're on that topic, one more time, watch out for the freaking scammers here that are using my picture, telling you to contact them right away, WhatsApp, whatever it might be. People have fallen for this trap already, a lot of them, unfortunately, and they're mostly getting elderly people. It's despicable to me that these scammers are out here and they're picking on one of the most vulnerable, it's early, people in society, and they're robbing them blind. So when you see these scammers here, again, a picture of me, contact me right away, WhatsApp and phone numbers, it's not me. Report these people. They're criminals. All right, look, I'll see you all in the morning. I hope this has been enjoyable to you. Let me know what you think. If you are a subscriber to my free newsletter, what do you think of that article I wrote? And if you are not a subscriber to my free newsletter, what the hell are you waiting for? Subscribe right now and go check out that article. I'll see you later.